Hello once more, friends. Today I'm going to bring out one of the lesser-known mixed decks that I created during the same time frame as Tristinger Overlord and Invincible Alfred. This deck is Bison Aleph. Bison Aleph is a Kagero and Great Nature mixed deck that focuses on using the unflipping and power doping of Great Nature to make Embodiment of Victory Aleph a consistent threat as a rearguard, supplementing its critical pressure with stand triggers. While the name is pretty uninspired and I haven't overly publicized the deck like I have with some of my other decks, it's still a pretty rockin' build. It makes extremely solid rows with no regards to the defensive power of my opponent. This is because Alpha is 13,000 power. If I hit a stand trigger instead, he's going to be 18,000 power. Soft Tank Sloth is 6,000 power with a 4k dope, which is going to make it a 10k boost. So it's going to be 23k for a standard boosted attack, 18k when I stand. This makes it so that Aleph doesn't care if the opponent has 10,000 power, 11,000 power, or if they're a cross-ride. He will still force the same amount of shield from them. Now let's talk about how the combo actually works. You will need a Tank Mouse or a Binoculus Tiger to give the power to your Soft Tank Sloth. When Soft Tank Sloth is retired at the end of a turn, its skill is Soul Blast 1 to unflip 2 damage. Bison's Limit Break is when a unit gets retired at the end of turn, unflip 2 damage. This allows me to unflip a total of 4 damage in a single turn, giving me full access to Aleph's ability again, ready to reapply that pressure once more. Additionally, if you're hurting for retirement abilities to retain critical pressure, Bison unflips twice for each unit that gets retired at the end of the turn. This will make things like a Compass Line tech very valuable for you if you happen to miss your Soft Tank Sloth, as you can still get an out for unflipping all of that damage. If you miss Aleph, you can now do an additional 1 or 2 dopes per turn using Bison's effect to get the most out of those stand triggers. You can create an enormous row by swinging with a Binoculus first, after using Bison's Activate ability to make whatever unit that you buffed 8,000 to 12,000 power stronger for the turn. With a Geograph Giant or a Compass Line, you're looking at between 18,000 to 23,000 total power unboosted. 23,000 to 28,000 power with a single stand trigger. This isn't just a viable backup plan, but possibly a more preferable shift of plans when the opponent hits 5 damage. One might argue that this is even a better base plan than the original, but Aleph isn't to be underestimated. That bonus crit as a rearguard that can occur twice in the same battle phase is a pretty big deal. Finally, if you have to ride Aleph, well, that sucks. Your null guards are wasted, and you'll be better off fielding those if you don't think you're going to draw into Bison. But since Great Nature is great at being a doping and drawing engine for non-Great Nature decks, like Tom and Jerry, you still have access to everything else barring your Soft Tank Sloths. One thing that made me a little bit sad about the recent Great Nature support was that there's no third stand trigger. This deck is currently running 46 Great Nature units and 4 Aleph. I don't have the leeway of running some Kagero stands in here without restructuring the deck significantly, and if I do that, I will lose a massive amount of consistency in other places. This gives me the choice between Castanet Donkey and Ruler Chameleon for my last trigger spot. I think that both are equally viable options. Castanet Donkey is a Margle clone, so it can supplement any Great Nature boosters or attackers. If it supplements an attacker that already has a dope, you're looking at 16,000 to 18,000 power for a grade 2. If you choose to run the criticals, you get access to critical pressure from your Vanguard and the searching ability of a Ruler Chameleon to trade a counterblast to acquire another critical from your deck. You can also choose to unflip with Bison or Soft Tank before or after this effect. You can still end a turn at 0 damage doing this pretty easily, while not losing a card from hand for the boost you got, while also getting any other on-retire effects like the draw of a Coiling Duckbill. The deck list here is actually pretty versatile. You can run whatever starter that you happen to want because Great Nature starters are all about the same power level. I really like Blackboard Parrot just because I like to trade my starter for a new card off the deck without losing anything for it. You're obviously going to want to have your 8 stand triggers and your 4 heal triggers. You have the option to go with either Castanet Donkey or Ruler Chameleon. If you really wanted to, you could split it up 6 and 6 between stands and crits, but you really want to have as many stands in here as possible to capitalize off of the power that you're trying to get. Coiling Duckbill gives you that card draw. This is the very key core of any Great Nature engine. You're also going to want Soft Tank Sloth, which they mistakenly put as Earth Gunner for no real reason, because Soft Tank Sloth will let you do that mass amount of unflipping. Perfect guards because perfect guards. Your other grade 1 options can really be anything. I'd say Tank Mouse is probably the best overall option. I was messing around with TikTok Flamingo. You could do Taping Cat if you really wanted to. I mean, Wash Up Raccoon isn't even a bad choice either. You have so many options that you can put on the table, and they're all pretty good options. For the grade 2s, you're going to have 4 Binoculus Tiger in any Great Nature build. I happen to go with 4 Geograph Giant. I like the vanillas a lot. I think Compass Line is kind of annoying to have to play, but he's still really, really synergistic with the rest of this particular deck. And I like the grade 2 7Ks if it hits if you have 4 more rear guards draws. They make really good Vanguard rides, and in Great Nature, his weakness and power isn't really as noticeable as it might be in other decks. And of course, we have 4 Bison and 4 Aleph. And those are, of course, the key cards that make up the actual engine behind what makes this deck so pressuring.